So in this video I'm going to talk a bit about periods according to the Ayurvedic perspective, and how basically our mind as women has a direct link to the quality of our period. So there are a lot of female health issues around the period at the moment. A lot of us are suffering with pain, cramps, hormonal imbalances, skin breakouts, feeling sick, having a funny tummy, feeling very tired. All of these factors are related to something in Ayurveda which I found absolutely fascinating. They have an almost direct link to the mental processes that are going on in the mind. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about that and how you can use this information to maybe help yourself in your own cycle. Okay? So, according to allopathic medicine, the period cycle is basically controlled by your hormones, which are released by a particular gland in the head called the pituitary gland. Okay? Now, so this is how allopathic medicine would say, yes, it's linked to just physically, there's something in the head that creates hormones which create these emotions. But according to Ayurveda, there is a specific fire. Basically, this might confuse you, there's a specific fire that sort of governs the quality of your menstrual cycle tissues, like your reproductive tissues, basically. And this fire requires to be strong. This fire needs to be strong so that no dosha can enter it. Basically, when there's an out of balance dosha and it's circulating, it might try to enter these tissues. But if your Agni is strong, it's like a gate that says, no, no, you know, sorry, we're too strong, you're too dry, you're too hot, you're not coming in. And therefore, your tissues deflect any sort of imbalances that might be able to enter it. But what controls the quality of this fire? Okay, there are three big things that regulate the quality of this fire and strengthen it, basically. And these are Pranavayu, SADHAKA, PITTA, and TARPAKA, KAPHA. Okay, that might all sound like a load of really confusing words, but what they basically are, which I'm going to explain, they are all in the head to start with. Okay, this is the big thing. All of these things that regulate that tissue for your reproductive area are all regulated by the nutrition of your mind, basically. So, I mean, I'm going to put this in a nutshell way. It does go much deeper than this, but I'm going to try and make it understandable for you so that you can really apply it properly to yourself. Okay. So the first one is called Pranavayu. Okay, I'll break it down. The word prana and the word vayu. Vayu basically just means a movement and a flow. Okay, and prana is like life force, energy, electrical almost. Okay, so it's the flow of this electricity, basically prana vayu, and it exists in the mind. Sorry, in the head. And also a little bit in the chest area, and its movement is downwards and inwards. Okay, it's very responsible for our respiratory processes, so inhaling and exhaling. Hence why pranayama practices are always linked to breathing. Okay, so this basically is the flow of thoughts and emotions when it's in the head. So our consciousness and our thoughts, our emotions, our feelings are all flowing with this pranavayu. Okay? Imbalances of this flow, so when something's stopping this flow from working properly, it can cause palpitations with the heart, feelings of anxiety, nervousness, arrhythmias and palpitations, and breathlessness as well. So that's when this pranavayu is out of balance. Okay. Now, I'm going to repeat this a few times so that you can understand it. So if the prana vayu is out of balance, this means that it will not be working effectively to keep your reproductive tissue Agni strong. Okay? So it's like weakening the force of protection, basically. The second point, the second regulatory feature of this protection, or this defense, is Sadhaka Pitta. Okay, again, this basically is a form of fire in the body, and it exists in two places, the head and the heart. So this fire is responsible for your comprehension and your understanding of experiences. So when something happens to you, your Sadhaka Pitta will basically transform it into knowledge. Okay, so when you have a strong Sadhaka Pitta, you're constantly learning and transforming, and you're processing, you're digesting it. So anything to do with fire normally involves transformation and digestion. Okay, interestingly, it's also in the heart. Okay, and this the Sadhaka Pitta fire in the heart is responsible for your transformation and your processing of emotions of love. Okay, so it's like the manifestation of love comes from the quality of your Sadhaka Pitta. So your understanding, your compassion, your sort of expression of love comes from that. Something really interesting about Sadhaka Pitta is that it's very important in your extrasensory perception. So you can say that the extrasensory perception, the ESP, is like a sixth sense. So sometimes if we don't see something, we don't believe it's there, it's not true. But sometimes there's an energy that is felt. Just because you can't see it, it doesn't mean that it's not real, because you definitely can feel it. So I suppose this is a bit like the intuition that we feel as women. And isn't it funny how it's particularly strong around this time of our cycle as well, like we become very intuitive. So the quality of the Sadhaka Pitta is strengthening of this extrasensory perception, this intuitive feeling. And it's a way of direct learning, basically. It's like there's two ways to learn in life. There is direct perception, which is from experience. I'm experiencing something, therefore I know it. Or there's learning it from some sort of outside source. So like someone's told you it, or it's a book. Both valid ways of learning, but the direct learning is more purer, I suppose, because it's an experiential learning, and this is your extrasensory perception. Okay. The third really interesting part is TARPAKA KAPHA. Okay, so this is another part that plays in the role to basically strengthen your Atava Agni. So it strengthens that door to say, no imbalance is coming in here. I'm going to make it healthy, it's going to stay normal. So the TARPAKA KAPHA is a form of kapha. So it's like the qualities of like gooey, slimy, sticky. And it's basically this film that exists around the neurons inside your head. Okay, so when I read about the function of this TARPAKA KAPHA, and I have mentioned it in a video I posted ages ago, like I think one of the first videos I mentioned, it's one of my most favourite parts of my learning is about the function of this TARPAKA KAPHA, this film that exists around our neurons. This film is basically a recording library of all our experiences, all our childhood memories. It also has our past life memories. It also has our parents' memories, our ancestors' memories. They're all within this sheath in our mind. Okay, this is like the cellular memory that our bodies have. And when we basically live through this memory, we are almost living through we live out those lives, basically. Like, we don't realise there's this underneath dialogue that's happening because of maybe something that happened when we were like 7 or 8, and then it's created a thick experience memory, and then we always live our life with that sort of experience playing a part in it. It's almost like we're still holding on to it. So when this particular film is really thick and sticky, it's because there's a lot of memories and experiences that haven't been processed. And you're still basically carrying out a life with viewing everything through the lens of your past. So how, the function of Tarpaka Kapha is basically for you to learn. I mean, we need experiences so that we know not to do things next time. But what we don't realise is that when there's an experience that we didn't want to learn from, because maybe it's particularly painful, because we're viewing it as like something that, okay, yeah, that happened to me, I don't want to remember it, I'm going to leave it. It does actually stay in the mind because you need to process it and learn from it in order for it to sort of dissolve almost. So the quality of your Tarpaka Kapha regulates the strength of your menstrual cycle or your reproductive tissues. So I'll say it again, because I'm sorry if you're getting really confused. If you are following, well done, because it does get really confusing. Basically, these three things, Prana, Vayu, SADHAKA, PITTA, Tarpaka Kapha, they all exist in the head. But these three things are integral, are vital for the strengthening of your reproductive tissues. I don't want to say defense, it's not like an immune defense, it's like a ability to be able to have a healthy tissue is regulated by these three things. And they're all to do with the way you experience life, the way you process life, the way you use your heart, the way you live out your past experiences, or the way you live in the present moment. And this is huge. Like, if you can start to look after those things, how you process life and how you use your mind, you will see a direct link to the quality of your tissues and eventually your reproductive tissues, because that's the last one that it's regulated by. So what can we do basically to improve that? So if you didn't understand what I just said, because it's confusing, here's things that you can do to basically improve it. Okay, so how can we strengthen the Prana, Vayu, Pranayama? Okay, so breathing exercises, and you don't have to be in some fancy yoga class, you don't have to, set up yourself and do everything all properly, just breathe. Okay, bring awareness into your breath, basically, and you can do that when you're sitting, okay, when you're waiting for something in the line at the post office, or when you're stuck in traffic, or, these moments of the day when there's nothing to do, just bring awareness to your breath. And just watch your breathing, okay? Because then you start to bring control to it, and just do really deep breaths. And if you want to go further, obviously contact a practitioner that maybe know more, or get a good yoga book, basically, and learn some pranayama techniques. And this will help to strengthen your reproductive cycle, basically, and how you deal with it, maybe emotionally or mentally. So, the second thing, how to strengthen SADHAKA, PITTA. Well, keep learning from your experiences. This is the thing. Every experience, every emotion, you've got to transform it and learn something from it. Okay, this is how you're going to break through it. And this definitely takes a lot of courage and acceptance, and you need quiet space for it. But start to process these things. Don't allow them to stay there. And this will strengthen your SADHAKA, PITTA. Okay? Another really important thing to strengthen the SADHAKA, PITTA is to, number one, listen to your emotions. Number two, listen to your heart. What does your heart say? Because that's going to strengthen the SADHAKA, PITTA in your heart. And number three, trust your intuition. Okay? When you go against what you're feeling, because maybe you just feel it and maybe there's no evidence but you feel it, then use that as a tool. Okay? You don't have to take drastic action on it and start changing everything, but just respect it and acknowledge that there's an intuitive feeling. Okay, and the third thing to strengthen the Tarpaka Kapha is basically to live in the present moment. This is just so beneficial to your health. It's just to stay in the moment. Because when your TARPAKA kapha is thick and full of all your past, you cannot view life clearly. You're basically viewing it through this clouded lens of your experiences. So if you've got this new relationship that's amazing, but you've not let go of certain things that have happened in your past one, you're going to end up viewing similar situations with this same perspective of what happened to you last time. And then you're going to create this whole drama around it, okay? But that's not the reality. The reality hasn't, you're only viewing it through that lens, and it's because those past memories are so stuck in your head that you then project it onto your current situation. Okay? And this doesn't just mean for like romantic relationships, it can also mean with your parents, at work, any situation where you come up with similar things again and you end up almost not destroying it, but not allowing it to play out as it should because you're projecting your past onto it. So staying in the present moment stops you from doing that, and that basically metabolizes everything. So this is why how you look after your mental state is so crucially linked to the quality of your period. So ladies, start to look after this. Take time to do your breathing exercises. Take time to do some meditation if you wish. This is really good, but I don't want to enforce it. But just there are techniques to stay in the present moment nowadays, like mindfulness is huge, and this is a really good way just to stay in the present moment. And this is how it ties in so well into your cycle as a woman. Okay? So think about it as any past experiences, all these storing up of emotions, they basically will not be strengthening your quality of your female cycle. And that's why you have to let go of these things. You have to start processing them, start living from your heart, use your intuition, be love, and allow that quality of your menstrual cycle to be strong from that. And these qualities are so, this is what the female is for, these things, nurturing, love, intuition. This is what makes us female. And that's why these qualities, when we nurture them, they're going to make our cycle so much more healthier. Okay? And of course you need to reduce the pitta down as well a little bit. So like I said before in some posts you might have seen, like keeping the pitta low is generally a good thing, but not always. Consult a practitioner and see if it's the right thing for you to do. Okay? But especially around your cycle, like hormones do generate a lot of heat, so keeping the body nice and cool, which is the feminine energy anyway, is better for you. So I hope you found that useful, and yes, it's definitely a lot to take on, but the key thing I wanted you to sort of take away is how you look after your mind has a direct link on your period. So yes, use this knowledge and make yourself healed and be on a path where you don't have to suffer with these horrible periods. Yes, I hope you find this helpful, and get in touch if you want to take it further. I do online consultations, or I can also do one-to-one.